Today, we're diving into a really powerful parable about how the human spirit evolves. It's this incredible journey of transformation told in three dramatic acts. It's a story about how we first carry the world's burdens, then fight for our own freedom, and finally learn how to create a world all over again. So, our story kicks off in this place called the loneliest desert. And this isn't some peaceful oasis. It's where the spirit really wakes up to its own power. It's not looking for comfort. It's seeking out the blistering sun, practically starving for a challenge. And it asks this question, not because it wants to be punished, but because it wants to test its own limits and find joy in its own strength. This is the very first spark of the entire journey. And right there, this spirit, so willing to bear a heavy load, goes through its first big change. It becomes the camel, which is the total embodiment of duty and reverence, all defined by the idea of thou shalt. And look at how the camel is described here. It's not just some mindless beast of burden, it's a reverent spirit. It kneels down on purpose, almost like it's worshiping, to take on the weight of tradition, morality, and all the rules that have been passed down for generations. The camel sees this as its highest purpose. You know, the camel's path is not easy. Not at all. It actually goes looking for the harshest conditions, the dry grass of difficult knowledge, and the icy waters of uncomfortable truths. And it does all this to prove itself, to build up its strength under the massive weight of everything it's been told it must carry. But this is the crucial turning point for the camel. All that duty, all that tradition, it starts to feel less like a noble burden and a lot more like a prison. And what a great line, a cage of golden scales. It might look beautiful, it might be valuable, but at the end of the day, it's still a cage. The spirit realizes that just carrying the rules isn't the same as being free. So, to break out of that golden cage, a second, much more violent change has to happen. The spirit has to become a lion. This is the Great Rebellion, that huge shift from the quiet obedience of thou shalt to the defiant roar of I will. The lion's whole purpose is the exact opposite of the camel's. It doesn't kneel, it stands up, and it fights. Its true power is its ability to say no, a sacred no, to the very burdens the camel went looking for. The lion's mission is to conquer its own freedom, and that means it has to destroy the old values that were holding it captive. And who is the lion's great enemy? It's not a person, it's an idea, the great dragon of tradition. The imagery here is just fantastic. Every single scale on this dragon is glittering with a thou shalt, a rule from the past. The lion has to fight this massive beast just to clear some space for itself. And this is the core conflict right here. On one side, you have the dragon, representing the crushing weight of all inherited duty. And on the other, you have the lion, which is just pure, raw will fighting to seize freedom for itself. It's an epic battle between history and the individual. But the lion's victory, it's destructive. It's called a holy naysaying, which means it's a necessary act of tearing everything down. It's like a desert storm that just scours the landscape, leaving nothing of the old world standing. This destruction is absolutely essential for what's about to come next, but it is, at its heart, an act of saying no. And this is where we see the lion's big limitation. Okay, it won. The cage is smashed, the dragon is dead. But now what? The lion is free, sure, but it's standing all alone in what's called a cold vacuum. It knows what it's against, but it has no idea what it's for. It's a master of destruction, but it can't create anything new. And that brings us to the final, and I think the most profound transformation of all. To fill that empty space, the predator has to become a creator. The spirit must become the child, a being that's not defined by duty or rebellion, but by the simple, powerful statement, I am. So, why a child? It seems a bit strange, right? The lion is the king of the jungle, a symbol of absolute power. Why would this incredibly powerful, free spirit have to, well, almost regress to a state of childhood? This is the central mystery we need to unpack. So what does the child really represent? Well, it's a total break from the past. It's innocence and forgetting. It's not carrying the camel's burdens or holding on to the lion's anger. The child is a new beginning, a self-rolling wheel that starts moving all on its own. And most importantly, it represents a holy yea saying, a radical, joyful acceptance of life itself. I mean, the contrast here couldn't be clearer. The lion's great achievement was the holy naysaying, clearing the ground by destroying old values. But the child's work is the holy yes-saying, this joyful, spontaneous creation of brand new values on that very same cleared ground. And with this incredible shift, the spirit's whole view of the world changes. Think about it. For the camel, the world was a burden. For the lion, it was a battlefield. But for the child, the world becomes a garden, a place for pure play and discovery. It's like the child plays with stars like they're marbles and creates new values like they're just singing songs. So ultimately, the spirit has moved beyond those old conflicts. It's no longer defined by what it must do or what it will do. It has finally reached this state of pure being, of I am, where its will and its actions are exactly the same thing. It is, at last, completely at home in its own becoming. Okay, let's pull all of this together and just look at the complete journey. It goes from a beast of burden to the king of the jungle and then, finally, to a new beginning itself. Each stage is totally different, but also completely necessary for the one that follows. So here it is, laid out as simply as possible. First, you have the camel, who learns discipline and endurance by taking on the weight of tradition. Then comes the lion, who learns what freedom is by tearing that tradition down. And finally, the child, who uses that newfound freedom to create an entirely new world. And this, right here, is the key takeaway. You can't skip the steps. The really difficult journey of the camel and the violent struggle of the lion, those aren't failures. They are the prerequisites. They're the training grounds for the spirit to become strong enough and free enough to finally be able to create. And this, for me, is just the most powerful line in this whole story, that light heart of the child isn't a sign of being naive. It's a sign of incredible strength, a strength that was earned by carrying the heaviest burdens and fighting the fiercest battles. Real creation, real play, that comes after the struggle, not by trying to avoid it. And all of that leaves us with one last thought-provoking question. Because this isn't just some old story. It's really a map for our own growth. So when you look at your own journey, where are you right now? Are you carrying a burden? Are you fighting a dragon? Or are you learning how to play all over again? Which metamorphosis is next for you?